we are looking for money to build primary schools. First of all, that is our priority. Because if they do well, you know, they can go to secondary schools, even out of Nairobi County, the national schools. But if they don't, then they, you know, they are tied up here. So we want to build secondary schools. The number that will be determined by this team that is going to do a feasibility study, the team that the governor is launching this week, and so on. That must be done. If we don't do it, we'll be ending up with 50% of the children just going back to the slums where they stay, and then you know, making that become it's a source of insecurity in Nairobi, and so on. So that must be done. We have another plan for the specific for ECD and the primary schools. Again, this is a cheap model to use, especially in areas where there's no there is a challenge of land, availability of land. South Africa did this again very successfully, and it's a model I have sold to the cabinet here, and they have endorsed it. Using recycled fabricated containers, you know, these big containers, they can be very, very good classrooms. And I have had a chat again with the Kenya prisons, who have some good workshops. They have done actually very good work in imparting skills. You know, some of the best welders in this country are actually in Kenya prisons, and so on. So when you build a classroom out of 2 containers, say 40 feet by 8 feet, it becomes cheaper, because then you don't have to spend money digging. The foundation in Nairobi, building in Nairobi, a lot of costs go into the foundation, and so on. But you can have a very well done, you know, classroom out of a fabricated container, and so on. We want to build 8 ECD centers, you know, across the slums. Because, you know, Muthaiga doesn't need an ECD center. They have private ones, and they can afford it. And these areas of Hurlingham and so on. But certainly our slums, which have schools called informal schools, where class learning takes place in houses and so on, if we structure ECD in this cost-effective way, we'll be able also to structure the primary schools and so on. So we have a robust program we have laid in place. We just need this to be now confirmed by the task force in terms of what we need to do. For high schools, the fees. I saw the headline today, and so on, you know, fees out 130,000 and so on being charged, and so on. Again, you know, this is a way we are building a class society in our country, not just in Nairobi, but especially in Nairobi. So what needs to be done here is, look, there must be proper conversations again. There must be a proper process. At the time I left Alliance High School in 2007, the government had not started free day secondary school, where every school now gets 10,000 shillings plus for every kid. Again, this is, I mean, you know, the government is doing it the wrong way, because my son, if he was in Alliance, he doesn't need that, you know, his fees to be subsidized that way. This 10,000 should go to a poor kid. But the government is doing it uniformly across the country, and across all national schools, and so on. But the point is this: let principals be a lot more innovative, dig into the alumni of their schools to support kids. Because I think this fees is that way because it's just a fraction of the students that are paying. These others are not paying. And so it goes. So, but I mean, you know, 130,000. How many people can afford that?
But do you think there is a way schools can find ways of generating their own income?
Yeah,
I know some schools, particularly national schools, who have huge chunks of land, like Lenana School, for instance.
Yeah, or even Alliance School.
Or Nairobi School.
You're correct. Yeah.
I don't know about schools in Easterns, but there are schools that can make money.
True.
There was a proposal, in fact, to sell some of the land belonging to learners, which I think was opposed.
No, they should not sell. I think what probably one project will be, I mean, housing is a big, look at where Lenana is, you know. If Lenana even, the board spoke to a bank to give them money, they can build very good houses, which people can stay in. And that becomes income generating, revenue generating. But more so, we set up a scholarship in Lancer School that was just fully financed by all boys and so on. So schools can also get, this is a practice in a lot of Western countries where schools, including primary schools, go to check how many people went through them. And they have that data and so on. And they then tap into that. And the state, I think, has successfully now adopted that as a model of raising, because increasingly Save the Children Fund are not giving them money, and they have had to depend on the alumni and so on, and the rest of the schools can handle this. So a bit of innovation, and I think this can work well.
All right. We'll wind up at that particular point. Thank you so much indeed. Talking to Christopher Khaemba, who is the Nairobi County Executive in charge of education and youth affairs. Thank you so much for your comments.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.